But now's not the time to hedge that. You look them in the eye and go, I'm certain you've got this problem. Okay?
Okay.
Now, if you thought, hey, they've got 4 different problems, then you can be absolutely honest with them with high confidence to go, okay, Chris, here's the, or Mary, you definitely have a torn bicep tendon. Definitely. But you also have a bulging disc in your neck and a bursitis in your shoulder and your fibromyalgia. All 4 of these problems. So you have 4 problems contributing to your shoulder pain. And I'm highly certain that the biggest contributor is the torn biceps tendon. But since they're all playing a factor, it's going to be tough. But I'm confident the torn bicep tendon is the first problem we have to deal with and the most important. We'll deal with all 4 of them, but that's the one I'm going to focus on first and the hardest. Okay? Back to this.
So you, reviewing your ultrasound, you definitely have a partially torn biceps tendon. Do you know what that means?
Yeah, and you want that, how do we, clarity. And this is the part where you listen closely and you watch their expression and you got your model there. This is not a detailed explanation. This is, it's a tear. It's a simple. This is the explanation they can remember and tell their husband when they get home.
Right.
Yeah. I got this thingy right here and it's a rip. And the more visual, if they look confused, a visual is the way to go. That's why we want a whiteboard in your room. So you can go, okay, here's a bone and here's a bone and you've got a ligament going here and you've got a rip in your ligament. Okay, that's too big. It's not fully torn. It's mostly torn. And that's you. And that's where you hurt. Got it? And they go,
yeah.
Right. All right.
So we go through the simple explanation of what is a partially torn biceps tendon. And I actually have it drawn out here. I do not have a whiteboard at home, but so we talk about what is a healthy tendon or ligament, right? With all the fibers, type 1 collagen being very strong. This is my rendition of a tear.
Okay. I love that.
So we
can on it. That's perfect. That's a little bit too wordy at that point. What I would say is go, okay, so this is what's wrong. And what I want to do today is I want to do a test run. I want to do a test treatment. So I want to hit you for 8 minutes with this cold laser and see how your body responds. Okay?
Okay.
So if they had a torn, let's say a biceps tendon, and they go, yeah, and you remember from the day before that it would restrict at this point when they're bringing their shoulder up and forward. You would test it again. You say, okay, now let's see. Now, if you just examined it the day before, it's going to be extra swollen. So you say, at what point does it hurt? And you want to demonstrate to them and have them go, it hurts right there. I can't move my arm forward right here. Say, great. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go have Colton run the cold laser on you, or you can do it yourself or assign it to somebody. You got to prep ahead, make sure someone's available, and then go, okay, now go do the cold laser for 8 minutes. You have them come back in the room and you go, okay, let's test it again. And they'll go, hey, it doesn't hurt as much, or it's 5% better. We don't expect dramatic improvement, but if it improves at all, go, man, that's exactly what I was hoping for. The PRP is going to work in this case. Again, you're inspiring. You want the placebo effect, essentially. I think the placebo does 25% of my success is that I'm very confident, and who cares? Because the placebo actually, it's not all fake. It actually works. So we want that. Now, let's say, okay, what about half the time or a third of the time they go, nope, it's no different. What are you going to say then?
I would say, well, that's okay. This doesn't work on everyone. I still think the PRP has a very good chance of helping you out because what we're doing is introducing growth factors to the area of injury. It's going to supercharge your healing process. And I think that really that's the next treatment we should try.
Okay. How did that come across, Colton?
kind of wishy-washy. It wasn't horrible.
Agreed. It was a good explanation. It was very truthful, but it came across as a little bit, it didn't work, but I want to do it anyway, because I still think it's the right way to go. Okay?
Right. Okay.
So, and we don't want that in this case, because now they're less likely to accept your recommendation because you seemed hesitant. You seemed disappointed. You see? You seemed defensive. We tried it, didn't work. So how could we rephrase it? Because this is still the right way to go. What's the truth of the matter? If you put them with a cold laser and nothing happens, what do you now know?
Really nothing different, just that they didn't respond to the cold laser.
Well, that does give us a piece of very helpful information. What does it tell us?
Well, they're not susceptible to the placebo.
That's true. That's true. That's not what it tells us, though. It actually tells us something important.
I'm afraid I don't know.
It tells us they're really, really jacked up, and it's worse than we thought, doesn't it? If it was a minor tear, the laser's more likely. If you have an 85% thickness tear or a severely degenerative joint, and the laser does nothing, what does that tell us? It means they're probably going to respond much slower to treatments and have a worse outcome, right?
Right.
That's actually critical information.
Right. No, that totally makes sense. We need a higher level intervention to help you.
Yes, we're going to recommend them up. Maybe we're going to do 4 PRP, or we're going to do stem cells. It also tells me I better be careful about how optimistic I am. I don't want to come in and promise you're going to get great results, and then they get mediocre results.
Right.
So I'm going to look at them. So it'd go like this. It would say, married, and don't. This is a big mistake you're going to make, is pretend you got good results, because you're so hopeful. Hey, I did a treatment. I want to see if it gets good results. And then they come in, and I don't want to be I don't want to give them bad news. And you're like that. You don't want to give somebody bad news. You want everything you do to be wonderful, and you want them to get good results. And when they don't, you're going to get defensive because you're disappointed, and you're going to convey that to the patient. And I don't want you to do that. This is where you're going to stay a little more impartial. So it's going to go like this. They come in and they go like this. And the tendency is they're going to go, yeah, it doesn't feel any better. And then you're going to be like, well, maybe it's a little better. It looks a little better. I think it worked a little bit. Don't do that.
Right.
In fact, the patient will do that to you. They'll come in and go, it feels a little better. And you're looking at it going, it looks the same to me.
Right.
But they said, oh, it feels a little better. And you're going to be like, yeah, I guess it is a little better. No, don't do that. Dead honesty. They come in and they go, oh, it feels a little better. And you don't think it looked better? You look at them and go, hell no, that ain't any better. That looks exactly the same to me.
But you'd want to agree. You could agree.
Because that's credibility, and you never compromise credibility. Or you go, hey, I'm glad it feels better. It doesn't look any better.
That's what
this is brutal honesty. That's what they want in a doctor.
Right.
So they come in and they go, oh, yeah, it feels a little better. Doesn't look any better to me, but I'm glad you did the treatment, because now I know this is going to be a tough case. This is a bad case. The tear's deeper than we thought. There's more scar tissue in there than we thought. When the cold laser doesn't work immediately, most people, it works immediately. So this one's going to be tough. Good to know. And now I know what to recommend going forward.
Right.
Boom. What's my confidence level?
Yeah, 10 out of 10. You're like, hey.
What's my credibility at this point? Especially when they come in and go, oh, I think it is a little better. Well, it don't look any better. You're full of crap. Now they're the one who's going, I like this guy. You know what I mean? Do you like it right now? I'm criticizing you constantly. But do you see me? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You should be more confident in me, at least knowing that I'm always going to tell you like it is. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat. I'm not going to try and say things to make you feel good about yourself. You should feel at this point, I have one goal right now, to make you the best doctor you possibly can so you can provide the best treatment to my patients. Right? Because I'm telling you like it is. You're making tiny mistakes, and I'm like, come on, Chris, get this and get it, right? That's what we're trying to do. So, and then I'm doing it on purpose because I'm trying to create a dramatic effect in your head so that your retention goes up. See how strongly we're interacting as well. That's what I did with Brianna.
Right.
Trying to cement ideas in her head using my intensity because I'm very intense. And I want you to be intense, but only at certain times. I like mellow, gentle, calm, confident Chris who gets real intense when it's important.
Right.
Then we back up. Right.
Gives it a little weight as well.
A little what?
A little weight. You know, like if I get intense, you know what I mean?
I tend to be way too intense all the time. My wife doesn't like it, but it's helpful sometimes. So, okay. So we want to get big clarity here.
Right. So we're getting clarity. We're talking, we go over the cold laser. We do the cold laser. It works or it doesn't work. Either way, if it works, that's great that it worked. I think the PRP is going to work very well for you.
Yes.
You know, and did we, I'm trying to remember, did we talk about money right after that?
Well, you got to decide ahead of time. This is where it's critical that you prep ahead of time. So you have to be aware of their money situation, and it's your job to do it. So, and you can, that's where Colton's going to be helpful for the doctor. So you look at your schedule for the day and you go through and you say, okay, what do I got to do to prepare for this patient? What am I going to do when they come in? Am I going to do a laser? If I am, this is a visit. So what happens is if they come in for that, Colton, I need your focus here for a second. So they come in for that first visit. Let's say they're all cash patient. And the first visit, we never like to do for free because it devalues what you're doing. So every now and again, I'll say, you can go in for free, but there's always a reason for it. Hey, Mary, I'm going to set you up with my naturopath. He's going to check out your shoulder. You've been a patient of mine for a long time, and I'm just curious. So this one's on me because you've been a patient of mine for so long. Or I can do it for, it's normally $250. I'm going to do it for $100 just because I'm curious more than anything else. So I'm going to get you in at a really cheap price. Okay. And then at the end of day one, when they come back for a day two, you know, at the end of day one, you're like, hey, I'm going to have you come back tomorrow when we have more time and I can ultrasound you and try a treatment.
Okay.
If you don't talk money, you always, always, always tell a patient how much it's going to be before you charge them. If you don't, it's actually okay not to know. So when they come in and they go, how much is, or you say, you know, hey, I want to do a laser and an ultrasound today. Yesterday we did the exam. Today we're going to do a laser and an ultrasound. So it would go like this. It would say, Mary, were you sore at all from the exam we did yesterday? No, that's great. You know, I reviewed your exam findings. Remember yesterday I told you you have a torn rotator. Today we're, I'm sure that's what's wrong, but today we're going to ultrasound it to check the severity. Right. And I also want to try a laser treatment on it today. You know, well, you definitely, you know, okay, I already screwed it up. Were you sore at all? Yes, no, I don't care. Just to review, you definitely have a torn rotator cuff. Do you understand what that is? Yes. Today, we're going to ultrasound it, and we're going to try a therapy called cold laser, and we're going to do a test run on it. So that's what we're doing today, okay? One, the ultrasound. You always explain what you're going to do and why. The ultrasound is going to tell me how severe it is. That's the purpose of diagnostic, to test severity, not to diagnose. We diagnose with the history, mechanism, injury, symptoms, and exam. The ultrasound confirms or doesn't confirm. It can confirm, but the main reason is to check the severity of it.